episode 2 of Supercars Horror Seasons. This is the series that I've got. It's not really a series, I've got one episode. But this is the series I want to keep doing where I describe what's happened in some of the teams' worst seasons, because every team has bad seasons, even Triple Eight has bad seasons. Granted, their bad season was 2004 when they were just getting their bearings going, so I don't know if it'll be in this series. But one team that's had a few bad seasons is Garry Motorsport. Garry Motorsport time in Supercars, which is I can describe it as probably just the Southern Alps. It's very up, very down, very up, very down, very up, very down, very up, very down. Oh, it's a Volvo, very up, and then it goes down, and then it hits the base. What I can say is the Mount Cook of their time in Supercars was definitely the 2000 season. Coming off 1999, they were going up. Garth was just finished his first full-time season in 1999, and he got plenty of good results in an older car. And Jason Barkwana was a constant, solid performer, and he clean swept the round at Winton with pole. And they were looking up for 2000. They even got second in the Queensland 500. If it wasn't for a dodgy pit stop, I think, cost them the race. So 2000 was looking up, and they performed. Jason Barkwana had a Bradbury-style win at Winton to win race 3, and they also won him the round. And Garth Tander, he was a championship performer, winning 2 races, but he also was very, very solid throughout the first part of the season. Even won the Clipsal 500. The only time they didn't reward the Sunday winner of the Clipsal 500 the win, and he got that because that was when they did the top point scorer, and they really capped off that year with a bang, winning in the wet race in the 2000 FIR 1000. Funnily enough, that car, that was the last time it raced, and they just parked it up in the workshop. It was like NASCAR style, where the Daytona 500 winner is parked up and left. I think that car is still drying off after the day though. So going into 2001, there was some hopes. There were some hopes that they could top Mark Scaife and the Holden Racing team, because if Mark Scaife had a bad result at Bathurst, Garth Tander would have been a champion. That's how close they were at Bathurst. I think, from what I remember, if Tander and Barkwana won, Scaife had to finish 16th or better. And with the few dramas that they had that day, that almost happened. So going into 2001, there were some high hopes. 2001 showed off probably some of the biggest changes in V8 Supercars history. One, the VX Commodore was introduced, which is a subtle minor change from the VT. And a major format shuffle happened. Bathurst got moved back to October. Pit stops were in basically every race but 2 rounds. I think it was Calder and Perth didn't have pit stops. They still had the old 20-minute sprints. They were also going to go to New Zealand. First time they were going to go to New Zealand for a championship round at Pukekohe Park. Rest in peace, Pukekohe Park. So how did they back up the good results that they got in the previous first round at Phillip Island? Well, 18th and 22nd in race 1 wasn't exactly the best showing point, and they didn't exactly do any better in race 2. Yeah, they weren't lighting up the order. They were just qualifying. Most races they were qualifying around the back half of the top 10 or even worse. Yeah, Phillip Island kind of set the bar for how the rest of the season went. Poor performance and poor luck basically showed off what they had, because in Adelaide, both Tander and Barkwana were running well, but Tander got spun around at the start of race 2 by Stephen Ellery, so they kind of went down the hill for them. And in Canberra, they were doing quite well, but Barkwana hit the wall at the start of the 50-lap feature race. And those two, the Sunday Adelaide race and the 50-lap feature race in Canberra, big points, very big points. Thankfully for GRM, Tander did do well, getting second in the last race and performing very well for the round. But that would probably be where they hit their highest for the season, not gonna lie. Second for the round at Canberra for Tander would be the best result he would get. He would not win a round in the year, and Bargwanna wouldn't even sniff the podium. Bargwanna's best result in a race was 6th at Bathurst. And it was just a very, very big downgrade from the previous season. I mean, he finished in the top, in just outside the top 5 in points in 2000. In 2001, he finished 15th in points. Big downgrade. The only highlight of GRM's real year was in the non-points Gold Coast race. Tander would get 2 race wins and win the round there, but being non-points, didn't really do much. Well, he didn't really go towards the championship at all. And Tander would finish 10th in points. A really big downgrade from the second he got in 2000. 2002 wasn't really much better, but at least they did win a round. Bargwanna did win at the Gold Coast, which was now a points sprint race. 2000 would probably be the higher. They wouldn't get to that height of 2000 probably until either the Caruso Holdsworth era or maybe even the Volvo era. But even then, they didn't. The closest they got to a championship was probably Scott McLaughlin in 2016. But 2001 was probably the first bad year that GRM had. Spoiler alert, they may be in future episodes of this series. So that's the second episode of Horror Seasons for Supercars teams. Let me know what team you'd like to see next. I've done a Ford team and I've done a Holden team. I'm not doing these in order, Ford Holden, by the way, that's just how this works. Let me know what team you'd like to see next. Like, subscribe and all that. Follow me on TikTok and all that jazz. And yeah, see you in the next video.